Hi, welcome back to the Daily Hunt. I'm Henry, and this is my daily market insights and analysis show. Yesterday, we spoke about the state of crypto. I gave you guys some key support zones that if those broke, then we were pretty much guaranteed for a deeper pullback, and that's exactly what's happened in the last 24 hours. So we're going to be covering that in detail today. We also spoke about the S&P 500 being in the situation and the Nasdaq being in a situation where the large caps have overextended. Maybe they pulled back a little bit. We had Palantir earnings yesterday, which looked nice. They moved Palantir a little bit higher on the news, and then they got sold off. So there might be some more pain in the markets, maybe some more consolidation. There are some ideas that I traded which were riskier plays, the quantum plays. I traded them a little bit too soon. I explained that in the previous video, so yesterday's video, and I ended up selling those really, really quickly on market open. We also spoke about the dollar, and the situation with the dollar is key to the market here. We are seeing some transfer of funds, or let's say profit taking in the market, and the dollar keeps rising. Now, I want to cover the technicals. I also want to cover some of my new ideas that I might have related to the market, especially the crypto market right now. I'm getting a lot of questions about crypto, where we're going, what we're doing. Just because we're not at all-time highs, we are continuously selling off, and I did obviously mention that we are in a risk-off environment right now while we consolidate and decide where the market goes. Right, so let me share my screens and we'll get straight to the analysis. Okay, yesterday's video, we covered this. We covered the situation with Bitcoin, and I said we are now in a decisive moment. We saw some nice support around this level of 105, 106. And when we cleared this, it became very obvious to me that we were on a trajectory back down to 100. Mentioned this in the video yesterday, that we are in a risky zone, so it kind of makes sense that we could do a deeper liquidation. I'll explain to you why I think that is during this video. So the scenario where we stay here and we move up higher has failed, and the only thing that we have to watch out for now is, do we get this weekly and monthly support that I mentioned? It's a key level. I think now this is more of a monthly support than a weekly. I think the weekly, the weekly did break around this 104, 105 zone where we're at right now, and 106 was a key pivot point yesterday, especially after that resistance on the 20 MA here, and then a full-on 2-day sell-off. I think the market is very fearful. I'm seeing that in my community as well, in Telegram. Also, I'm seeing it in the Discord. Very, very worried about the state of the market. So I think lots of traders are going into cash. Now, it's not to say that the market's finished. This is why I want to cover some of the key points here. The monthly chart is around that 10 MA zone. Previous dips in the market where we've seen reaccumulation before a long position have dipped below that and close to the 20. My opinion has always been that if we break this level here, we could actually see a significant drop in the monthly chart, meaning that we would go all the way down to the 20 for the first time in a while, and that would be some sort of support around the 90 level. But we could easily hold around this 100 level, and I haven't taken any trades. I think holding cash is also a position in this situation. So I'm just holding and waiting for the market to decide its direction. Now, of course, the direction is leaning towards a bear. Like I said, maybe a deeper liquidation event like these two here. But overall, the monthly chart looks bullish. Crypto if you're looking at altcoins, yes, it doesn't look great. It is a problem. But if you're looking at Bitcoin, it still looks bullish on the monthly, and then on the weekly, it looks like a let's say a retest of this 90 zone I mentioned. And one thing I've noted here a number of times on the channel is what we've seen since 2023 is we saw this initial move higher. Now, something that is worth looking at is this zone between 50, or let's say 52 and 44, all right, on the RSI. The reason why I say that is every time we've had a dip, we've either bounced from one of these two zones, okay, or within that zone. So in this situation, what I really need the market to do for bullish scenario to still be valid, for the market to continue moving up higher, I'm not looking at the short. Yes, it was good around the 106. The reason why I'm looking at this is we've seen reaccumulation around this zone of 45, 44, 42. So maybe this is a bad week. And maybe next week we get some momentum coming in on the bullish side. However, from what I'm seeing here, it doesn't look very good. We are obviously very weak around this zone. And we haven't seen a significant push up for a new all-time high from last year. It looks decent, but it's not, the best situation. We've also seen some bearish divergences here happening on the weekly, but there is also that hope there of this level being that key buy the dip zone for position traders, for institutions, for algorithms, clearly, because if it's happening more than once or twice, then it's clearly programmed in for some reason around this level. And I think it's this idea that there's a sentiment shift, which we're seeing here. There's a lot of traders that would take the short side, and then Bitcoin gets bought. And Bitcoin is being accumulated. You have to remember this. You can't think that institutions are going to be shorting here. They might not be buying, but they've been buying since 18, 15, 28. I've heard there was moments where it was being bought around the 50 level by MicroStrategy, also being bought around the 75. So, the average price for most of these institutions is probably somewhere around here, and I don't think they would mind it moving down and then rebuying it, or buying more of it around these levels. So then we have to also think about, if you were a position trader, which you would basically be the reason why the market is moving up higher. If you were a position trader, what levels would you be looking for? Well, one of those levels clearly is the RSI around this 40, 45 level. And the other one is when the market looks like it's finished, that's exactly when they buy. And they buy after they've been buying after a bull flag developing. But in this situation, I think it could be anywhere as low as 75, in my opinion. So you can come back here, then move higher and restructure for a move. If it comes down to 75, we are then going on the RSI on the weekly all the way down to around that 30 level. And then we're building for the new year rather than building this year for the long side. And that would be probably a decent trade to take on the short side as well. Again, there is support around that 100. So yeah, for me, I'm just holding cash with the idea that that is still a position, and I don't want to be taking any positions against the market at the moment, just yet. So if we got a initial move down and move up, resistance, I'll probably be looking for that short around 90, and then maybe even 75, like I mentioned. But at the moment, I'm just waiting to see how it reacts around this zone. It's setting up perfectly for the bull. All right, so it's setting up perfectly for bullish momentum. At the same time, it's showing so much weakness. I think that it's putting in a lot of bears into the market. I don't know anybody that's buying here, so that's both a negative sign, but also a positive sign, meaning that nobody's buying a dip here. Meaning that yes, we can go a little bit lower, and then we can restructure and build for that significant momentum in the markets. We'll have to see. That's basically what I'm looking at. I also saw a logarithmic chart. So let's. So there's a log chart, and there was something like this. Somebody drew something like this, right? So we have this trend line moving up on the weekly, which it looks like there's a lot of noise there because of the daily analysis, but 1, 2, 3, we've just broken that level now. This is why the market looks weak. Okay, we broke this trend line, retested it, and came back down, and then we have this 100 level, which I mentioned in the daily as a zone, but it's looking fairly weak. And again, this rejection zone around the 10, so the 116 is was a decent sell off there. If you want to get in on the trade, I didn't catch that one. Again, just timing. I mean, most of these moves have been happening around past midnight in the UK. Clearly during the Asian market hours, and it hasn't provided any opportunity for me to trade. I'm not going to be staying up all night trading Bitcoin. Okay. Ethereum. Ethereum on the 1 daily, still holding that 3.5 level. I think that's a good zone to rebuild from if we are to rebuild. We just have to wait for the chart to appear. Right. So 3.5, it's the lower level of this channel. Like I said yesterday, we could kind of rebuild around this level, and there's a number of other factors, but it's looking weak. Yeah, let's just say that, and we need it to hold above. Otherwise, we go to 3.2, 3K, and then we're kind of having to build from these lower levels, and it'll just take more time. Now, the price will be cheaper. It'll be better. The move to 150 will produce a higher percentage gain if we go to 150. But we don't want market structure to be ruined, and that's the key here. Is yes, we want a dip, but we don't want structure to be completely ruined, because we don't want this market to be finished for the year. But it's looking like this all over. I mean, we're looking at a situation where the whole market, including stocks and commodities, isn't looking that great. Yes, we have some commodities moving up higher, but yeah, this is where the situation is with Ethereum. Again, the only regret I have is not taking the short around this level here. We obviously had the second opportunity here, but these trading hours, I'm not gonna be staying up, ungodly hours to take these trades. And the long side is always the best, the most money that you can make in. Okay, so clearly there is no incentive really here for this trade. It's just taking that position. Being cash is also a position. Now, okay, Bitcoin. This is what I shared in my Discord group yesterday, and I think it's very important here. We've seen these resistance levels, and I think this is where you could have kind of shorted the market 2 times. What we need is, even if we can get a wick today, it's okay, but we need this level to hold. and we need there to be a rebuild and then a move up to 115 again for that bullish momentum. If that's finished, again, we go all the way down to 100 around here, and then we go to around 90 on this. But that would be very unlikely, and it's never really happened before, as you can see here. So if we look at other situations where it's happened, it was August of 2024, and then we rebuilt. And then there was a situation where we had the sell-off in 2022. Okay, so if we do see a sell-off like that, it would be, I think, something similar to June of 2021, where we had the sell-off, a rebuild of structure, another move up higher, and then maybe the real end of the market. This is where I felt alts did really, really well in 2021. I remember trading this period and my alts are flying. So maybe we have a dip in the broader market, final move, and then we move up higher. That's what I'm seeing at the moment. And then with Ethereum, again, we need this to hold. If it doesn't hold, then we go all the way down to 3K, 2.6. Ethereum's a little bit different because we've had these moves happen even recently in Feb. We had these significant sell-offs. To me, you can easily rebuild here, okay? That's like I'm saying, it's a 50-50 zone. Today is probably the most decisive day of the market. I did mention that November was going to be very, very important for the market direction, and especially for crypto, and this is where we are right now. And for me, yeah, it's looking short here. You could easily short it here as well. But again, I am choosing to be less aggressive on the short side, especially after making significant gains on the long side and I think the market will probably recover. It's just a situation of when that will happen. And I think there might be some key events or news that might come out to let's say, improve the market. But look, these institutions will want to buy at cheaper prices, and they're going to be buying it wherever those prices are. This level is fairly cheap, but also the 2.6K wouldn't be bad for them. For then that rebuild here to move up to 6K. So imagine buying it at 2.6, selling at 6K. I end up buying here at 1.6, trading 4 or 5 times, selling around 4.5, and then we can buy again maybe around 2.6 for that 5.9. That's the trade that I would want to take, and I'll show you why. I mean, it's so simple. It's important that you guys understand it. This trade is 18-20%, maybe 30%. Okay, it's nice. It's definitely nice. This trade, let's say 3K to around 5.8, is 90%. And we also have a structure which would probably build for a new move higher in the markets. Okay, but that would be the most the best, I think, trade. And look, even if you took these trades here, yeah, 20%. Here, for example, it was a quick buy up anyway, so maybe you didn't catch the whole move. 15, 15, but you're not going to catch all the move, so you're probably fighting there and taking higher risk for maybe 20% max, 25% in total. So yeah, that's a situation where I feel like I don't want something like this again. I don't mind it. I want something where his base is creating this kind of base around 2.6K, like I mentioned in the previous chart. 3K, 2.6 around this level here. and then we kind of rebuild again. That'd be perfect. RSI levels here as well, rebuilding around the lows, similar to this move around here. That would be perfect for the market. Well, at least for myself anyway, as a swing trader. That's why we're looking at to trade. Okay, I think that's enough for crypto. Bitcoin dominance is probably gaining here, especially considering that it's minus 2.5, whereas other cryptos are down around 3%, 5%, etc. So I think Bitcoin dominance is gaining. I'll just quickly cover it. Okay, actually losing a little bit here today. Probably because of these other alts that are showing a bit of strength, and they might not be the only ones. So maybe the setup is there. You know, these are signs that I look at. I mean, it's just early signs, if anything. And I mean, the basic thing that I can see here is maybe another move up higher. It fills up all around up to this wick, and then we can kind of rebuild. That's what I was seeing with Bitcoin dominance. And I mentioned this in the previous video yesterday about the monthly. I don't want to repeat myself here. Okay, that's crypto. There's no new ideas from my end, but when I'm looking at some of these alts, they're looking very, very oversold. So there could be a unexpected flip in the market, especially with the job data coming out this week. We have JOLTS job openings today, and then we have unemployment data and job non-farm payroll on Friday. That will probably provide us some clarity with the markets and then a clear direction. Okay, now we can cover the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, Russell, and the VIX. We'll be covering these quickly in a sense that we want to know where the broader market is. I am seeing rumors or tweets about Michael Burry taking trades against the market with Palantir puts and Nvidia puts. I can see why. I'll show you as to why that's happening in a bit. And I'm long in those two trades. I am in profit. I'm willing to take profit and then take a short position if I have to. But the situation is looking very, very similar to what I've drawn here. I mentioned it a few times. The distribution would look like this. This would be a perfect distribution. And this would also be the perfect move for a short around this level or this level or this level, taking maybe a short on the breakout below if we end up building this sort of structure. Now, so far, we're still holding the 10 MA on the S&P 500, even though we had a negative day yesterday. Oh, sorry, a slightly positive day. We're still holding, and we still have hope for that move higher. Palantir earnings didn't come out. It came out quite nice, but the market's selling off here today, as you can see. So we have a sell-off in the market today, and it's understandable around that 20 EMA. This is another reason why I think the broader market is also selling off. It's the large caps. The large caps now are showing weakness, and there is a bit of worry in the market. Ideally, I wanted this to hold around the 10 and then move up higher, but we get another dip. And then look, if you're considering the move from 6.5 to 6.9, that's a decent gain. And then if we get another dip here, hold around the 20. But to me, it's looking very short. The whole market is looking very short. So I might even go 100% cash in stocks as well because of this. Or I'm actually looking at gold as well. Okay, so The Nasdaq gained a little bit yesterday. I think it's probably selling off today. It'll be very, very obvious sell-off. Overextension. I mean, it was just, for me, it felt very, very overextended here. Yeah, there you go. So we're getting that style off as well. I think this is driven by the large caps, and in my portfolio, I was seeing the same thing this morning. A bit of a dip on these larger caps, and that's exactly what's happening as I'm looking at my portfolio right now. So it's it's normal. I'm sitting in profit with them because I end up taking the trade around a week or two ago now. So we end up capturing this momentum. We'll have to see how they hold up, but it's not looking that great. If I'm being honest, we are looking like we might be doing that distribution that I mentioned, and that would be fine. I wouldn't mind that sort of move in the markets. The Russell 2000, I didn't mention to you guys that I think this could be a good shorting opportunity, especially with a double top and this kind of distribution zone here. It's looking like it wants to drop around 5% or so from this level to around here, maybe even a little bit deeper. And yeah, with the S&P, I did mention last week that we could see a 5 to 6% drop. That would be normal. You also have the draw-ins on my chart where I see the normal level of a drop and then a rebuild of structure. You saw that in the chart that I shared with S&P. But yeah, this is breaking here, and we're looking short with the Russell, with the VIX also spiking up today. So we have a situation where we have to be risk off. The VIX is spiking, and the volatility might be increasing. Yeah, it could find support. We just have to manage risk as best as we can and protect ourselves in this situation. We have, so let me show you the S&P 500 is very important here. Right, so today the S&P is selling off. This is an ETF that only opens when the market opens. But with that sell-off, the zone that I had around this level was resistance, and then we come back down to here, which is around 6.3, maybe all the way down to 6.1. So this move, we're around here right now, but this move from yesterday, if it drops around 6 to 8%, it would be normal. I don't think it will drop straight away. It will create a structure like this, which will allow you time to get out, and institutions as well will be getting out. They'll be buy the dippers around these zones. So yeah, we are in a situation where I think we could be selling off a little bit. So just be very cautious there. One of the reasons is Palantir and the large caps being overextended and then selling off a little bit. This is the reason why there is talk about Michael Burry selling, and this would have been a perfect opportunity to sell. Just because I'm in the long, I kind of wanted to manage the situation and get in at a different time. I could have taken a put as a hedge. I decided not to, and I'll be looking to manage this today, essentially, and see how it reacts. I also have Nvidia in a portfolio that's been holding up, and I think it's selling off a little bit right now. So we have to monitor that. Yeah, there we are with Nvidia. I mean, this move all the way down to 199, even as low as 193 is normal. Okay, it is normal, and I wouldn't see it as an issue at all if that happened. Okay, so it's normal. Like I said, I'll be managing these positions. Yesterday, I mentioned that I'd bought SMR, PL, IonQ, QBTS, or Rigetti. All of these started selling off, and as soon as the market opened, I started getting out of the positions. It's just about minimizing risk and minimizing losses. That's all you can do in these situations if you're not in profit. Luckily, I am in profit with Nvidia, Palantir, some of these other ones I'm holding, so I can get out with a small profit and gain to balance out the small losses that I made with IonQ, QBTS, Rigetti, etc. So it's kind of a balancing act in the situations where the broader market loses. If you can control the losses from your end, then you're in a good position. Okay. I think that stock's done. We're going to cover the dollar. I keep banging on about the dollar and how the dollar is seeing gains here. It's in a situation where the dollar, if it breaks above 100, we will get a significant dip in the market. And we are currently seeing problems in crypto and the indices with this sell-off. It's looking like a situation where it's risk off, and we can move up higher. We would need the dollar to come back down to kind of provide for basically investors going into other assets. At the moment, what I saw this gain on the dollar as was just purely profit taking. So we had an amazing 6 months. Yeah, 6 months since first, I think it was like 7th of April. We've had an amazing 6 months. A dip is normal in the markets. That's it. That's all I have to say. These are just typical market structures. Nothing to be worried about. Just manage these situations and control the losses and try and gain something if you can. If you don't know how to short, if you're not comfortable shorting, just hold cash. That is also a trade. You'll be able to gain something by holding the dollar, and then you can buy the assets cheaper, trade them up on the swing, just like I do. Gold is also selling off, so we're getting this sell-off across the board, but not much. And I think gold could tick up a little bit here, go all the way up to 4.2 before it comes back down. It's looking like that's the situation, but it could do something similar to June or May, where it consolidated for a while. I think the consolidation is probably needed after this huge move since August. Okay, that's it. Commodities also gaining here. Some commodities are gaining, some are losing, like the energy commodities are losing a little bit. But I think I'll wrap it up with gold. That's the situation with gold. I think some kind of volatility and price tightening, consolidation would be nice for gold, but it could move all the way up to 4.2. Okay, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. Also, follow me on all other social medias. The links are below in the description of the video. I also have a Discord group where I share my market insights and analysis throughout the day, as well as my watch list, my hand-picked watch list of the day. It'll be 1 or 2 trades a day, as well as my top ideas. You can join that community for only £15 a month. Very, very cheap, and it's a nice way to try out whether the ideas I provide are worth your while. Okay, that's it. Take care. Bye-bye.